The sun had barely risen over the Manhattan skyline on March 31st, 2025, when the news broke like a thunderclap across the digital landscape. Whoopi Goldberg, the outspoken co-host of The View, had reportedly fled the United States. The reason? An $80 million lawsuit filed by none other than Elon Musk, the enigmatic billionaire whose name seemed to dominate every corner of the modern world. Rumors swirled like a hurricane. Some claimed she'd escaped to Canada. Others whispered about a private jet bound for Europe. The streets of New York buzzed with speculation, and social media erupted into a frenzy of hashtags, memes, and fiery debates. For years, Whoopi had been a fixture on daytime television, her sharp tongue and unapologetic opinions earning her both legions of fans and a fair share of detractors. But this was different. This was a collision of titans, a clash that no one saw coming, and it had apparently driven her to abandon her home, her career, and her country in a single, dramatic swoop. If you love Whoopi Goldberg and want to follow every twist of her wild journey, subscribe to the channel now. It all began months earlier, in the sterile glow of a television studio. Whoopi sat at the iconic round table of The View, her co-hosts flanking her like a council of advisors. The topic of the day was Elon Musk. Hardly a surprise, given his omnipresence in the news. Between his ambitious ventures with SpaceX, his controversial reign over X, and his unpredictable public persona, Musk was a lightning rod for discussion. That morning, Whoopi didn't hold back. "This man thinks he can buy the world and bend it to his will," she declared, her voice dripping with indignation. "He's out here playing God with his money while the rest of us are just trying to live." The audience roared with applause, but the cameras didn't catch the glint in her eye, a mix of defiance and, perhaps, a flicker of unease. She went on, accusing Musk of manipulating public discourse through his ownership of X, of silencing voices that didn't align with his vision. Her words were bold, biting, and, as it turned out, dangerously close to crossing a legal line. Elon Musk, perched in his minimalist office in Austin, Texas, watched the clip on a sleek monitor. His expression was unreadable, but those who knew him best, a tight circle of confidants, could sense the gears turning in his mind. Musk wasn't one to let criticism slide, especially not when it came from a platform as influential as The View. He'd faced detractors before, from politicians to pundits, but this felt personal. Whoopi hadn't just criticized his business decisions. She'd painted him as a villain, a puppet master pulling strings from a gilded throne. Within days, his legal team was mobilized, a squadron of sharply dressed attorneys armed with briefcases and a singular mission: sue Whoopi Goldberg for defamation. The initial claim was staggering, $80 million, a figure that seemed plucked from the stratosphere, designed to make a statement as much as to seek compensation. The lawsuit alleged that her statements had damaged Musk's reputation, cost him potential business opportunities, and fueled a wave of negative sentiment that rippled across his empire. The news of the lawsuit hit the airwaves like a shockwave. Headlines screamed, "Musk versus Whoopi, the battle of the century." Pundits on every network dissected the case, debating the merits of free speech versus the limits of libel. On X, Musk's supporters rallied, flooding Whoopi's mentions with vitriol, while her fans fired back, defending her right to speak her mind. The legal documents, filed in a California court, were a labyrinth of accusations, claims of reckless disregard for the truth, malicious intent, and irreparable harm. Musk's team argued that Whoopi's comments weren't just opinions, but deliberate falsehoods, crafted to tarnish his image in the court of public opinion. Her lawyers, meanwhile, scrambled to mount a defense, insisting that her statements fell under protected speech, a cornerstone of American democracy. But as the case gained traction, something unexpected happened. The courts fast-tracked the process, a move that legal analysts called unprecedented for a civil suit of this nature. Whoopi felt the walls closing in. The once invincible TV star, who'd weathered controversies from her George W. Bush quip in 2004 to her Twitter exit in 2022, found herself cornered. Friends said she'd grown increasingly paranoid, convinced that Musk's influence extended beyond the courtroom, that he could sway judges, manipulate media, even track her movements through his tech empire. She's not sleeping, a close confidant revealed to a tabloid. She thinks Elon's got eyes everywhere. The sped-up lawsuit only fueled her fears. Normally, defamation cases dragged on for years, bogged down by motions and appeals, but this one hurtled forward with a velocity that left her reeling. Discovery was scheduled within weeks, depositions loomed, and the $80 million figure hung over her like a guillotine. For a woman whose net worth hovered around $60 million, the stakes were existential. Losing could bankrupt her, strip away her legacy, and leave her a cautionary tale in the annals of celebrity feuds. Then, on the eve of a critical hearing, she vanished. Her chair on The View sat empty, a silent testament to her absence. Co-hosts Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin addressed the audience with strained smiles, saying only that Whoopi was taking some time off. But the rumor mill churned relentlessly. A grainy photo surfaced online, allegedly showing her boarding a private plane at a small airstrip outside New York City. Another report claimed she'd been spotted in Toronto, sipping coffee under an assumed name. The most outlandish theory? She'd fled to France, holing up in a chateau owned by a sympathetic Hollywood ally. Whatever the truth, her disappearance sent shockwaves through the entertainment world. Fans mourned her exit, foes celebrated it, and Musk, ever the provocateur, tweeted a cryptic message. Sometimes the truth runs faster than you can. The post garnered millions of likes, amplifying the chaos. Back in the States, the lawsuit pressed on without her. Musk's legal team argued that her flight was an admission of guilt, a move that only strengthened their case. She's running from accountability, one attorney declared in a press conference, adjusting his tie with a smug flourish. Whoopi's lawyers countered that her absence changed nothing, that she'd return to fight when the time was right. But as days turned to weeks, doubt crept in. Where was she? Why hadn't she spoken out? Some speculated she was negotiating a settlement, hoping to dodge the courtroom entirely. Others feared she'd cracked under the pressure, a titan felled by a billionaire's wrath. The media painted her as both victim and villain, a martyr of free expression or a coward who'd abandoned her principles at the first sign of real trouble. Meanwhile, life in exile, if that's what it was, took its toll. Imagining Whoopi in a foreign land conjured vivid scenes. A woman pacing a dimly lit apartment, her signature dreadlocks tucked under a scarf, scrolling ex incognito to gauge the fallout. Perhaps she watched reruns of The View, aching for the camaraderie of the table, or penned a memoir in secret, plotting her comeback. Her fans clung to hope, launching a hashtag #WhereIsWhoopi campaign that trended globally. They shared clips of her greatest moments, her Oscar win for Ghost, her fearless rants on air, refusing to let her fade into obscurity. Critics, though, reveled in her downfall, calling it a reckoning for years of unchecked bravado. She poked the bear one too many times. A conservative commentator sneered on Fox News. Musk doesn't play games. The legal battleground shifted as depositions began. Musk took the stand first, his lanky frame slouched casually in a chair, his voice a low drawl as he recounted the damage Whoopi's words had wrought. "I'm not here to silence anyone," he insisted, though his smirk suggested otherwise. "I'm here to protect what I've built." The testimony was a spectacle, part theater, part chess match, broadcast live to a rapt audience. Whoopi's team, in her absence, leaned on character witnesses, colleagues, friends, even a former producer who praised her integrity. But without her presence, their arguments felt hollow, a defense mounted on quicksand. The judge, a stern woman with a reputation for impartiality, watched it all unfold, her pen scratching notes that would decide Whoopi's fate. Across the border, or perhaps an ocean, Whoopi grappled with her next move. Fleeing had bought her time, but it hadn't erased the problem. The $80 million lawsuit loomed like a shadow she couldn't outrun. She could stay hidden, let the case play out without her, and risk losing everything. Or she could return, face Musk head-on, and roll the dice in a courtroom showdown that would define her legacy. Sources close to her hinted at the latter. "She's not done," one said. "She's regrouping, strategizing. Whoopi doesn't go down without a fight." The thought of her storming back into the U.S., defiant and unbowed, electrified her supporters. It was the kind of twist that belonged in a Hollywood script, fitting for a woman who'd starred in so many. As spring bled into summer, the saga stretched on, a modern epic of pride, power, and principle. Musk, ever the enigma, seemed unfazed, jetting between Tesla factories and SpaceX launches, while his lawyers chipped away at Whoopi's defenses. The public, meanwhile, remained divided. Some saw him as a bully wielding wealth as a weapon, others as a visionary wronged by a reckless celebrity. Whoopi's silence only deepened the mystery. Had she truly fled for good, or was this a tactical retreat? A prelude to a grand return? The answer, like so much about her, remained elusive, a riddle wrapped in a headline. In the end, the story of Whoopi fleeing the country after Musk's $80 million lawsuit wasn't just about two larger-than-life figures. It was a mirror held up to a fractured world. It exposed the fault lines of fame, the fragility of truth, and the raw power of money in an age where battles were fought as much online as in courtrooms. Whether she resurfaced to reclaim her throne or faded into legend, one thing was certain. The tale of Whoopi versus Musk would echo for years, a cautionary fable of what happens when words ignite wars and when giants collide, leaving the rest of us to pick up the pieces. Summer waned into autumn, and the leaves in New York turned crimson and gold. But the city's chatter about Whoopi Goldberg's whereabouts never faded. The $80 million lawsuit had morphed into a cultural phenomenon, a lightning rod for debates about celebrity accountability, corporate influence, and the ever-blurring line between fact and opinion. Elon Musk, meanwhile, leaned into the spectacle, hosting a rare press conference at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, flanked by gleaming rocket prototypes. He addressed the case with a mix of bravado and nonchalance. "I don't care about the money," he said, his voice echoing through the hangar. "This is about principle. People can't just say whatever they want and expect no consequences." The statement was vintage Musk, equal parts philosophical and provocative, and it reignited the firestorm online, with ex-users clashing over whether he was a defender of truth or a thin-skinned tyrant. Across the Atlantic, whispers of Whoopi's presence in Paris grew louder. A French tabloid published a blurry photo of a woman resembling her, strolling along the Seine with a wide-brimmed hat pulled low. The caption speculated she'd rented a modest flat in Montmartre, living under an alias while plotting her next move. Fans seized on the sighting, flooding social media with messages of support. "Come back, Whoopi. We need your voice." Her detractors, however, saw it as proof of cowardice. She's hiding in croissants and wine while Elon fights it out. One ex-post sneered, racking up thousands of retweets. The truth remained elusive, but the image of Whoopi in exile, once a commanding presence on American screens, now a fugitive in a foreign land, captivated the world's imagination. Back in the US, the legal proceedings took a dramatic turn. Musk's team introduced a bombshell, alleged evidence that Whoopi had coordinated with producers at The View to amplify her attack, part of a broader strategy to boost ratings by targeting high-profile figures. The claim rested on leaked emails, their authenticity hotly debated, which showed discussions about taking Musk down a peg. Whoopi's attorneys dismissed it as a fabrication, accusing Musk of weaponizing his tech resources to forge the documents. The judge, however, allowed the evidence to stand pending further review, a decision that tilted the case further in Musk's favor. Legal analysts predicted a settlement was imminent. Without Whoopi present to counter the narrative, her defense was crumbling like a house of cards in a storm. Then, on a crisp October morning, a video surfaced that changed everything. Uploaded anonymously to YouTube, it showed Whoopi sitting in what appeared to be a sparsely furnished room, her face bare of makeup, her eyes weary but resolute. "I didn't run because I'm guilty," she said, her voice steady despite the exhaustion etched into her features. "I ran because I needed space to breathe, to think. This isn't over." The clip was short, just under 2 minutes, but it exploded across the internet, garnering millions of views within hours. Supporters hailed it as a rallying cry, proof that their champion hadn't surrendered. Critics called it a desperate ploy, a bid to sway public opinion without facing the courtroom. Musk's only response was a single emoji on X, a shrug, leaving the world to interpret his silence. The video's origin was a mystery. Tech experts traced its upload to a server in Switzerland, sparking theories that Whoopi had moved again, evading detection with the precision of a spy. Some speculated she'd hired a team to manage her disappearance, a network of loyalists, shielding her from Musk's reach. Others wondered if the clip was old, recorded before her flight, and released now as a distraction. Whatever the case, it injected new life into the saga, pulling the spotlight back to Whoopi just as the lawsuit neared its climax. Her fans organized virtual watch parties, dissecting every frame for clues, while her legal team seized the moment, filing a motion to delay the trial until she could return and testify in person. Musk, undeterred, escalated the stakes. In a bold move, he announced plans to launch a new X feature, a truth filter, designed to flag statements deemed misleading by an AI algorithm. Though he insisted it wasn't tied to the lawsuit, the timing was impossible to ignore. "The world needs clarity, not chaos," he tweeted, unveiling a demo that flagged a mock-up of Whoopi's original comments as potentially harmful. The move drew praise from his acolytes, who saw it as a step toward accountability online. But it horrified free speech advocates, who accused him of building a digital censorship machine. The controversy only deepened the divide, turning the lawsuit into a proxy war for the soul of public discourse in the 21st century. November brought a chill to the air and a twist to the tale. A whistleblower from The View emerged, a former staffer who claimed Whoopi had been warned about the risks of targeting Musk, but pressed on anyway. She knew he'd come after her. The source told CNN, speaking under anonymity. She said, "Let him try. I've faced worse." The revelation painted her as both fearless and reckless, a gambler who'd rolled the dice and lost. It also shifted the narrative, suggesting her flight wasn't just fear, but a calculated retreat after misjudging her opponent. Musk's camp pounced, arguing it proved intent, while Whoopi's allies framed it as courage, a willingness to speak truth to power no matter the cost. As the trial loomed, a surprising figure entered the fray: Oprah Winfrey. The media mogul, a longtime friend of Whoopi's, issued a rare public statement urging both sides to find peace. "This isn't about winning or losing," she wrote. "It's about what we're teaching the next generation. How to fight, how to forgive." Her words carried weight, prompting speculation that she was mediating behind the scenes, perhaps brokering a deal to bring Whoopi home. The idea of a truce tantalized the public, an end to the chaos, a handshake between two icons. But neither Musk nor Whoopi's camp confirmed it. Instead, the silence grew heavier, a prelude to whatever storm was brewing. December arrived, and with it, a breakthrough. A joint press release from both legal teams announced a pause in the lawsuit, citing ongoing discussions. No details followed, but the news sent shockwaves through the media. Had Whoopi agreed to settle? Was Musk backing off? Reporters staked out airports, hoping to catch her return, while X buzzed with theories ranging from a secret payout to a public apology. The pause felt like a ceasefire in a war no one fully understood, leaving the world on edge for the next chapter. Whoopi's fans clung to her video, replaying her vow that this isn't over, while Musk's supporters awaited his inevitable counterstrike. In the quiet of that uncertain winter, the story of Whoopi and Musk lingered like a half-told tale. It was a saga of defiance and dominance, of a woman who'd fled yet refused to fade, and a man whose empire stretched further with every move. Whether it ended in triumph or tragedy, one truth held firm: their collision had reshaped the landscape of fame, of power, of the very words we dare to speak. And as the snow fell softly over cities and screens alike, the question remained: would Whoopi rise again, or had Musk's gambit rewritten her story for good? Winter tightened its grip on the world as January 2026 dawned, the air brittle with frost and anticipation. The pause in the $80 million lawsuit between Whoopi Goldberg and Elon Musk had stretched into weeks, a fragile truce that left everyone guessing. Then, on a gray morning in New York, the silence shattered. Whoopi stepped off a plane at JFK Airport, her dreadlocks cascading defiantly over a black coat, her face a mask of determination. Paparazzi swarmed, their flashes illuminating the terminal as she strode past, offering only a curt wave. No statement, no explanation, just her presence, a thunderous declaration that she was back. The internet ignited, with hashtag Whoopi Returns trending worldwide within hours. Fans wept with relief. Foes sharpened their knives, and Musk, characteristically, posted a single word on X: interesting. The media frenzy was relentless. Helicopters buzzed overhead as Whoopi retreated to her Manhattan apartment, a fortress now ringed by reporters and curious onlookers. Inside, sources said, she met with her legal team, plotting her next move in a case that had ballooned beyond mere defamation into a cultural reckoning. The joint press release from December had hinted at talks, but her return suggested a shift. Perhaps a refusal to settle, a decision to face Musk in court after all. Analysts speculated wildly. Was this a power play to regain control of the narrative? A bid to rally public support? Or simply the act of a woman tired of running? Whatever her intent, Whoopi's reappearance jolted the lawsuit back to life, setting the stage for a showdown that promised to be seismic. Musk, holed up in his Texas compound, responded with calculated calm. He invited cameras into his home for a rare interview, lounging in a leather chair beside a roaring fire. "I welcome her back," he said, his tone almost playful. "Let's finish this the right way." In front of a judge. The words dripped with confidence, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of unease. Whoopi's flight had thrown him off balance months ago. Her return now threatened to upend his carefully constructed case. His team doubled down, filing new motions to accelerate the trial, arguing that her absence had delayed justice long enough. The courts obliged, setting a date for early March, a mere 2 months away, ensuring the clash would dominate the new year. Whoopi broke her silence days later, appearing on a live stream from her apartment. The setup was simple. Just her, a chair, and a camera. No polished studio to soften the edges. "I ran because I had to," she began, her voice raw with emotion. "But I'm here now because I won't let anyone, billionaire or not, tell me I can't speak my mind." She recounted the toll of her exile, the sleepless nights, the isolation, the gnawing fear that she'd lost everything. Yet she framed it as a rebirth, a chance to rediscover her strength. The broadcast drew millions, a raw, unfiltered moment that reminded the world why she'd been a force for decades. Her fans erupted in cheers, while Musk supporters dismissed it as theater, a performance to sway the jury pool. The trial loomed like a storm cloud, and preparations consumed both camps. Musk's lawyers unearthed more alleged evidence, recordings of the View meetings where Whoopi reportedly mocked him, calling him a space cowboy with too much cash. Her team countered with testimonials from colleagues, painting her as a truth-teller unafraid of power. The courtroom, a sleek federal building in Los Angeles, became a battleground long before the first gavel fell. Protesters gathered outside, some waving signs reading "Free Whoopi," others chanting "Musk 2026," in a bizarre nod to his rumored political ambitions. The case had transcended its origins, morphing into a referendum on wealth, influence, and the right to criticize in a polarized age. March arrived, and with it, the trial's opening day. The scene was chaos. Satellite trucks lined the streets, helicopters whirred above, and a sea of spectators jostled for a glimpse of the players. Whoopi entered first, her head high, flanked by her attorneys and a small entourage of supporters. Musk followed, his lanky frame cutting through the crowd, a faint smile playing on his lips. Inside, the courtroom buzzed with tension as the judge, a no-nonsense veteran named Clara Henshaw, called the proceedings to order. Opening statements set the tone. Musk's side painted Whoopi as a reckless provocateur whose words had cost him dearly. Her defense cast Musk as a bully using his fortune to silence dissent. The stakes felt impossibly high, each side wielding the case like a weapon in a larger war. Testimony unfolded over weeks, a parade of witnesses that captivated the nation. Musk took the stand, his demeanor a mix of charm and arrogance as he detailed the harm to his reputation. Lost deals, plummeting stock prices, a tarnished legacy. Whoopi followed, her voice steady as she defended her comments as opinion, not malice. "I said what I felt," she told the jury, locking eyes with each member. "If that's a crime, then lock me up." Cross-examinations were brutal. Musk grilled on his own controversial tweets. Whoopi pressed on her history of fiery rhetoric. The evidence, from emails to X analytics, piled up, a mountain of data for the jury to sift through. Outside, the public devoured every update, live streams raking in record views as the drama played out in real time. Then, a twist. Mid-trial, Musk offered a settlement. The terms leaked almost instantly. $20 million, a public apology, and a gag order on future criticism. Whoopi's camp rejected it outright, a move that stunned observers. "She's not bowing," a source close to her said. "Not now, not ever." The refusal electrified her base, cementing her as a symbol of resistance. But it also raised the stakes. If she lost, the full $80 million judgment could ruin her. The jury deliberated for days, the tension palpable as the world awaited a verdict. When it came, split, with Musk awarded $10 million, but no punitive damages. It felt like a draw, a ruling that satisfied no one yet ended the legal war. Musk shrugged it off. Whoopi called it a win for free speech. In the aftermath, both retreated to lick their wounds. Musk jetted off to Mars Base Alpha, his latest obsession, while Whoopi returned to The View, her chair reclaimed with a quiet triumph. The $10 million stung, but crowdfunding campaigns from fans softened the blow, a testament to her enduring pull. The saga left scars on their reputations, on the discourse, but also lessons. It exposed the fragility of fame in the face of wealth, the power of a single voice to ignite a firestorm, and the limits of justice in a world ruled by optics. Whoopi vowed to keep speaking, Musk to keep pushing boundaries. Their collision, a chapter closed yet forever resonant. Spring 2026 bloomed, and the story faded from headlines, replaced by newer scandals, fresher fights. Yet it lingered in the collective memory, a cautionary epic of two titans who'd clashed and walked away changed. Whoopi's return had been a gamble that paid off, not in victory, but in survival. Musk's pursuit had flexed his might, but dented his mystique. Their war had mirrored a fractured era, where truth was a battlefield and power a double-edged sword. And as the world spun on, the question echoed, what happens when giants collide again? For now, the answer rested in the quiet, a pause before the next inevitable storm.